Back with Bobby, JG, and Abel Radio. We have our show partner and guest, Mr. Abel Longoria, which is Agent Abel of Goosehead Insurance. I really want to break down for people that are listening right now what advice you would give for people that are getting insurance just out of the gate, either renewing it or they're about to purchase a home. What's some advice that you would give them?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest, most important thing is just making sure that you're having a conversation with whoever's selling you that policy and ask them questions.
Sure.
Obviously you're going to have your own questions. I think that there are some really important questions that you should be asking regarding certain water coverages, certain kind of holes that a lot of policies could have. I have a document, it's called the Big Four, and it's the 4 questions that you need to ask if you want to take a look at it and get those with the answers that you should be expecting from agents. You can go to my website and go to www.agentabel.com/questions. There's that /questions. And you can actually take a look at all of it. But some of the things that you need to be asking are, like, example, if it's a house, what type of water damages are covered on there? Because a lot of companies are going to eliminate certain interior plumbing related claims. And so if they, a lot of people don't even know that. And asking the right questions will kind of open up some of those holes, make you realize, like, okay, I should get that, maybe pay an extra $2 or $3 for a really important coverage. And it all boils, and every company's different. It's not like I can say, hey, ask, you need to get this for this particular one deal, because maybe it's just complicated. Every company has different rules, and so that's why you need to make sure you're talking to somebody who knows what the rules are for that particular company.
And every house is different, right? So Bob owns multiple properties. I do too. There's some that I would definitely want certain coverage on. There's some that I'm like, well, it's newer and I don't think there's going to be an issue, and so you can kind of live without some of the extra coverage.
Because do the home affect the cost of the
Absolutely.
insurance?
Yeah, newer homes are going to be, as the home gets older, it's going to be more expensive kind of thing. But there's certain homes, certain areas that it's weird. Certain zip codes are built really, really well, and even old homes in certain zip codes that they're going to be nice areas, they're going to have really good rates. Mm-hmm. Kind of like you were mentioning, every house is different. So homes with pier and beam foundations don't necessarily need to spend a ton of money on foundation coverage because
it's cheaper.
It's cheaper. Yeah, you can just go in there, crawl, and get a plumber, and he can fix the pipe. Whereas like an actual slab foundation, you got to dig it out, break it up. It's a whole
lift it back up.
Mess. Yeah, it's a whole different mess, right?
So pier and beam is a little cheaper to insure.
You don't need foundation coverage.
Gotcha.
It might be more expensive for other reasons. Mm-hmm. But again, every house is different, and you just need to have someone who knows what the heck they're talking about to make sure you're making the right decisions.
What about running the quote in one person's name?
Good question. So that's a big tip that I always give people. If you're running the quote on your own at Geico or wherever, run it in both your husband and your name if you're married. This is only if you're married. A lot of people just put their name as the primary and pretend and think that that's going to give them the same rate if they with the wife first as well, or the other spouse. And a lot of times that's the case, but a lot of times just switching the name will decrease the rates significantly.
Why is that?
Some people make more claims than the other one person, or they have different clue reports or whatever.
Yeah, so it all has to do with what's called.
She's left-handed, I'm right-handed.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't be.
We don't like brown-haired people, but let's see what the. It's all based on something called an insurance credit score. Mm-hmm. So it's basically like a credit score, but for insurance. It has to do with how many claims you file. A big one is how often you switch companies. Mm-hmm. If you switch every 6 months, a lot of people are like, oh, my policy's up, I'm going to renew and switch. If you do that, that actually hurts your score because insurance companies like to see you with at least 1 year of history. Mm-hmm. So keeping policies, I always recommend to keep them for at least a year unless there's a crazy high rate increase. So then look to shop.
So when does it reset? Like in credit cards or on that side, it resets like every 7 years or so. Does it resets? Does it fall off at a certain time?
It resets every time you get a new policy. Mm. So every time you get a new auto policy, it's mainly for auto. Home is not. You can kind of finagle it. It's not as important. But on auto, if you switch to a new policy, your history resets.
Really?
Every single time. And
so you don't have to tell them about a car accident that you had with another car insurance before.
Okay, so the
Bobby getting free advice right
now.
now.
Right. The accidents will stay on your record for 5 years no matter what. I'm talking about like your continuous quote unquote insurance history.
I gotcha.
Which is, do you make payments on time? Has there been any lapses? Those are like the type. How often do you switch? Those are like really sneaky things that nobody knows about, and that is.
And they will be forgiven.
What's that?
They're easier to be forgiven, I guess, than from the insurance companies.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Last question, real quick. What's the best way to handle a claim once it happens?
That's a very, very good question. So a lot of people think the first thing you got to do is
call Agent Abel.
Call me, right? And hey, I'm
trapped under this car. Get me out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, whoa, you like, I'd love to help. I do what I can, and I tell people, call 911. Like, hang up the phone. Call 911. There's nothing that we can really do.
And does that ever happen? Does anyone ever call you laying in a ditch?
It happened earlier. Like earlier today, my friend called me, and like I'm not gonna be like, hey, there's nothing I can do. But there's really not much that we can do at that time. And if we go into trying to file the claim, we're gonna be. It's about a 30-minute process to get everything. Say, hey, this is what happened. Yada yada.
So fix the situation.
Fix your situation, then call us. It's not something you have to do immediately, and then we're all. Then there's no such thing as there's emergencies. If you have an emergency, call 911. There's no such thing as a claims emergency where you have to call us immediately because, our job is to pay you back, not clean up. Not
save your life.
Not plug up plumbing holes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Gotcha.
So it's always important to have contacts if you have like plumbers, right? So if you do have, let's say. And we have contacts, so if you call us, we can always help you with things.
I've actually called you, say, hey, just get a quote, because sometimes it's not even worth the deductible, right? It's not even worth you even making the claim.
Absolutely. That's another thing, too. So it's you call me and say, hey, I want to file a claim, and I'm like, well, how much are the damages? If you don't know, then it's not a good idea to file a claim because maybe you can fix it for $500 and your deductible is $3,000.
Yeah.
So always get a quote first and then call us and file a claim. No big deal. Don't have to do it right away.
Makes sense.
So before, and I swear, and I have gotten insurance through Abel personally. Everyone needs to check out this document because it probably would have saved me a ton of money on my other properties that I've lived in. Go to www.agentabel.com/questions. You can call them at 210-760-0368. Again, that's 760-0368.